Why am I getting cussed out too?
I don't know.
I'm getting cussed out, and I shouldn't be getting cussed out. I don't know why I'm getting cussed out.
Yeah, guys, stay off Ken. This isn't Ken's fight. Ken is not a racist, no matter how much you guys want to believe that
This is the
or try to prove that.
What are you doing?
They're wondering why we don't know what an injury is from somebody who all he does is talk every chance he gets.
I was going to explain to you.
So is he hiding what he has?
No, I was going to explain to you.
Why isn't he being forthright?
Okay, I'm trying to explain it to you. If you just shut up for a second and let me tell you.
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times channel.
So here we go again, back with another one. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And so, of course, as we all know, the big talk right now is Shedeur going to start after the bye week? Is he going to start versus the Jets? And even some of Shadur Sanders' early on detractors, and as you would like to call them, haters, are all but now begging for Shedeur Sanders to start after the bye week.
And either they're afraid of Dillon, Dillon's got them in his back pocket, they bought into the hype, also possibly. But this is all a Dillon creation, right? Well, and look, Shedeur showed you even throughout this process, like a lot of kids his age, not just him, that there's an out-of-control ego, that he's calling himself legendary, even when he got prank called, right, by the kid, Jax Olbrich, right? Olbrich, the defensive coordinator of the Falcons now, former Jet defensive coordinator, by his son Jax. He says when he thinks he's talking to Mickey Loomis, I've been waiting for you. Like, where the hell you been? Yeah. Like, he wasn't contrite.
Well, I have to say it. I get no joy out of saying it, but I do have to say it. Hell hath frozen over, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm now in lockstep with everybody else. I have finally left my perch as the sole voice of reason in the great city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is time. It is time for the Cleveland Browns to do what everybody knows they need to do. And that's bench Dillon Gabriel. And there's only one other quarterback really on the roster. I don't count Bailey Zappi. Dillon Gabriel has only played 3 games in the NFL. And to be fair, and I heard what Kevin Stefanski said yesterday, and I think the owner may have said something as well, 3 games is not enough to judge whether or not a rookie, is going to be a good NFL quarterback. Excuse me. Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is. Now, in most cases, it's not. Circumstance, offensive line, run game or lack thereof, who am I throwing the rock to? That all is brought into consideration when you make a decision about a quarterback. So let's be fair about it. But I've seen it. I've watched it. I know where they drafted him. I know how they're invested in him and all that stuff. But I've seen enough.
And so I think a lot of people, including the Shadur Sanders haters, are starting to see some of the games that Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns are playing with Shadur Sanders.
So I'm watching, Red Zone. So I'm not watching the game. I get the highlights as a club like everybody else. And I see the play, and I see Dillon, who doesn't throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field with any kind of accuracy at all. And I want to be clear about this. I don't know that Shedeur is better. None of us do, because we've never seen him play an NFL game. But I know this for a fact. He's not worse.
There's people who don't even believe he has a back injury, for crying out loud.
Oh, come on.
Hey, man. Why
would he fake it?
No. It's all the Browns are coming up with a back injury. No, that's not true at all.
And I'm not saying that Shadur Sanders is faking an injury. I'm not saying that at all. But if he was to fake an injury, a lot of people ask, why would he do that? Why would he comply? Well, I'll tell you why. It would be in his best interest to comply with everything that the Cleveland Browns want him to do. As long as he's on that roster and he's getting a check, it would be within his best interest to do what's asked of him. And we all know how the game goes, especially Shedeur. He saw it play out during the draft process. A word here, a whisper there, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, you got salt in your name. And nobody wants to deal with you. And so it's in Shedeur's best interest, if he wants to be a starting quarterback in this league, to kind of go along with the flow. And so I'm not saying that he is, but if he was asked to do something like that, that would be the reason why he would do such a thing.
He's doing social media. He's got a team around him filming his every move.
Okay.
We don't know how he sustained an injury.
Maybe there's a video.
That part of it, doesn't that sound? Just ask yourself the question. That does sound, that invites a bunch of questions. Like, how would we not know?
As far as
we know
what?
everything else about his life, but we don't know this. How he sustained an injury on a football
do
field?
you really want to get into the details of that? Are you demanding answers? It sounds like you're demanding answers.
I'd like to know. I don't know why you wouldn't want to know. You're not curious.
Later this week. Oh, they know.
When you say that, thank you, Owen.
And he wasn't. And furthermore, he wasn't asked after. Hold on. He wasn't asked after the Patriots game when he's been directly interviewed in the locker room after other games.
I don't think he was
asked.
He wasn't interviewed after that game.
Right. Why?
He was inactive. Why would you make him available?
It's not made available. They're in the locker room. That's what we've been told, right? Anybody can go up to
you can
anybody
go up to
at any time.
if you're in your locker. You cannot go to certain areas.
So what would have happened if somebody would have gone?
If he were, hold on before you say anything further and make yourself look even dumber.
I'm not look dumb at all. I think the people that are sitting there covering up or whatever they're doing, I think they're the ones that look silly.
2 seconds ago, you were just sitting there talking about how it was silly that people were wondering whether or not he has a legitimate back injury. Now it sounds like you're wondering if he has a legitimate back injury.
I'm wondering
you
why
want to talk about slippery wizard.
I'm wondering why we don't know what an injury is from somebody who all he does is talk every chance he gets.
I was going to explain to you.
So is he hiding what he has?
No, I was going to explain
why
to you.
Isn't he being forthright?
Okay, I'm trying to explain it to you. If you just shut up for a second and let me tell you.
If they don't start, if Kevin keeps going on this and they don't start Shadur sooner, or even give him practice reps, and Gabriel continues to look poorly, like what can he say to kind of justify it? You know?
Yeah, I think the realization might have hit him this week, because it certainly hit me.
Yeah.
That Gabriel's not going to be able to take him to the finish line.
Yeah.
You know. I think Kevin felt that once Gabriel got in there, I can win with him, you know, and over time develop him to keep him in there.
So that sounds about right, based on everything that we know now, based on what Eric Dickerson said.
Is what it is.
The NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source. And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They weren't going to draft him. They were forced into drafting him because somebody made a call to them, said, you know, and I say, when I say this is a NFL side source for sure, you know, so this is not hearsay. Look.
And that's coming from Eric Dickerson. That's what was alleged. And if indeed that is true, the other question becomes, when were they told to draft Shedeur Sanders? Did they know they were going to draft him in the 5th round on day 1? And if that's the case, that makes sense. It makes sense why Kevin Stefanski would jump all the way up and grab Dillon Gabriel in round 3 when nobody had him ranked as a 3rd round pick. Because if Shadur Sanders was the only rookie quarterback in that room, you better believe he'd be playing. He knew Joe Flacco wasn't going to hold anybody off. But if you got a Joe Flacco and you got a 3rd round quarterback in Dillon Gabriel, you just might be able to do it. Because like I said earlier, nobody had Dillon Gabriel rated as a 3rd round pick. Nobody had Dillon Gabriel rated higher than Shedeur Sanders. And I came across some of Garrett Bush's content. And if you guys haven't checked out his channel, definitely do so. Because I want to go ahead and play a little bit of the breakdown that he did on his channel the other day in regards to the pre-draft rankings of these 2 quarterbacks.
This is Dillon Gabriel's final scouting report from Pro Football Focus. Let's take a look at his weaknesses. Gabriel's measurables: height, weight, wingspan, hand, etc. All in the 35th percentile of the lower among quarterbacks. That's quite a barrier developing into a successful NFL signal caller. He'll be a significant disadvantage, and some teams may even be scared off drafting him on their boards. Now, let's see what his other weaknesses are. He turns down open downfield passing options. Gabriel's average downfield pass in 2024 travels 7.0 yards. That's 7th lowest in the FBS. Not Pac-12, Big Ten, Power 5. That is 7th lowest. That's the nature of Oregon's offense, right? But the difference between him and Bo Nix is that Bo Nix took advantage of downfield options. Gabriel's big-time throw rate was 3.2%. Is there a reason you don't see any big-time throws with Dillon Gabriel? He didn't make them in college. Let's keep it real. Bo Nix at least had a 4.0. It's not a large gap, but it's significant when there's plenty of times Gabriel could have taken deep shots. Me and Tyvis have broken it down on here on our members-only film review. And Tyvis eloquently points out times where, hey, that's a big time throw. You need to throw. It's open. You got to let it go. I've played you. What's the name of said? What Tommy Reese said, he's looking uncomfortable. We just got it. He just has to let it go. He wasn't skittish like this. We've done these shows before, right? He simply turned down far too many opportunities, either because he has hit his check down too early, sound familiar this year, or on passing attempts over 20 or more yards, he earned a PFF grade of 94.7, right? But guess what? He doesn't let it go. Summary. So all of the guy, Sean King puts it eloquently. He said, you took him in the top 100. Gabriel is an intriguing process with extensive college experience, dating back to 2019. He demonstrated excellent distribution skills in RPO and quick passing situations, right? Guess what? RPO is his college. The Browns don't run no RPOs. They actually are sitting here trying to tell you Shedeur Sanders was actually the RPO guy, the guy that didn't understand offense, right? So we'll just juxtapose the two. The size also led to Gabriel's conservative approach, as he frequently missed opportunities for big plays in 2024. For Gabriel to have a successful NFL career, he'll need to be in an offense that highlights his quick decision-making. His draft grade is a 4th or 5th rounder. Now, by the way, Darren, I had to cherry pick this to find a 4th or 5th round grade. Most of them were 6th or 7th or undrafted. Now, I quickly want to go and juxtapose it so we don't miss this with one Shedeur Sanders. Can we look at this? Let's look at his strengths. This is all PFF. This is the same publication. Now, when you look at Dillon Gabriel's, if you were to switch this Shedeur Sanders for Dillon Gabriel, don't it seem like they just switch their body? Accuracy. His biggest strength is his accuracy. Ball placement, catchability, he's among the best. PFF charts the ball placement on every throw made by college quarterbacks, and Sanders finished 2024 with the 3rd highest accuracy rate and the 5th lowest rate of uncatchable throws in FBS. Let that sink in. 2, avoiding turnovers. For the people that say he plays street ball and he just doesn't know how to get out the huddle on time, avoiding turnovers. Sanders handled the most dropbacks under pressure in FBS, nearly 20 more than the second most. He was under consistent pressure at Colorado, yet still avoided turnovers. Can't say the same about Dillon. His 1.3 turnover-worthy play percentage ranks 3rd best amongst draft-eligible quarterback. That figure rises only to 2.5% with pressure, placing him 8th in the class. Sanders does such a good job of not turning a bad play into a disaster when quarterbacks are constantly under duress. And then let's get to this part, because this debunks exactly what we were talking about with Albert Breer. Maybe because we actually watched the games, maybe because I saw him play. When Sanders plays on time within structure, he flashes high-level processing, not the street ball narrative. It led to the 3rd highest clean pocket PFF passing grade among draft-eligible quarterbacks. Colorado's offense, which was not Oregon's RPO offense, does not rely on a ton of RPOs and screens, instead asking Sanders to process a lot of pre-snap and post-snap. Now, Mary Kay, I'm sorry, but when you keep saying he needs to learn the terminology and get in and out of the huddle, who are you hearing that from? Because obviously you didn't watch him in college. You didn't see these scouting reports, did you? Although the Buffalo's offensive line often couldn't hold up enough to allow him to get through his progressions, when he did have time, he was excellent. Even when he didn't have the time, he showed the ability to stand and deliver in crowded pockets. Sanders' 86.9 PFF passing rate when under pressure with time to throw under 2.5 seconds, rate 3rd in college football this past season.
And so I'm going to go ahead and post the link to the rest of the video down below in the description. If you want to go ahead and check the rest of the video out, definitely go ahead and do that. And so, like the scouting report said, I knew everything there is to know about Shedeur Sanders. I've seen every snap going back to Jackson State down to the last snap he took at Colorado. And the scouting report was dead on when it came to Shedeur Sanders. But what I didn't know the pre-draft scouting report on Dillon Gabriel. And it's fascinating, because everything that we're seeing in the NFL with Dillon Gabriel is exactly what the scouting report said, which is why they had him rated where they had him rated. But Kevin Stefanski, for whatever reason, and I'm not going to make any accusations, but you guys can come to your own conclusions, for whatever reason, thought that he can make it to the finish line with Dillon Gabriel. But that's my take on it anyways. I'm not trying to insinuate anything, but like I said, you guys can kind of read between the lines and come to your own conclusions on that. But let's go ahead and try to keep that conversation going on down below as we usually do. And if you haven't done so already, definitely go ahead and drop a like. And if you haven't done so already, and you've been enjoying the content on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And as usual, peace and chaos.